Alright guys, this is Matt. I'm going to be doing a tutorial today on GUI scripting. As you all know, the GUI is the graphical user interface, and it's pretty much what you're a bulk of what you're going to be using in your games. So you'll use it for like a heads-up display, menus, all that sort of thing. So what you guys need for this tutorial is just your copy of Unity and a script editor. I recommend MonoDevelop because it goes ahead and it just highlights the syntax for you. It makes it a lot easier. I have a Unity project opened up here. Just called a GUI. And what we're going to do is just go over the basics first. So there's two different completely different ways of doing the GUI, and that's as a GUI or a GUI layout. The primary difference between the two is with a GUI, you define every element's size. So you give it an X, a Y, and a width and a height. Whereas with a GUI layout, it just kind of conforms to what you've placed it in. I'll show you examples of both. But for the first one here, you just want to go down to your project, create. I'm going to be showing this one in JavaScript, but C# shouldn't be that much different. So we're just going to call this one main menu. So we get that. I'm going to open up in MonoDevelop. Let's give this 1 second here to load. Alright, so the default JavaScript file is going to have just an update function. We're not going to be using that today. The first thing we need for GUI scripting is just your basic GUI function. This could be on GUI. So we got that, put the closing brackets, and this is the most basic GUI function you can have. So everything that is involved in the GUI has to be in the GUI function. You can't put it in any other functions. You can't really even put functions within it that call other GUI things. It just doesn't work. So we're going to start off with some basic GUI stuff. So we'll just do GUI, it's got to be all caps, dot button. So this is just the basic button that player can click on. Since we are using GUI, it's a fixed size, so we do a rect, and then you want to give it an X and a Y. So this is to be where it's located on the screen. So we're going to put the origin point, so that's going to be the top left. So then we get to divide a width and a height. So for this one, we're going to make it 200 by 200. And then we close that off, and that is our rect. So the second thing you want to put in a button is going to be the content. For this one, we're just going to have this one say test, and it is a string noted by the quotations. So then we'll just go ahead and close this off. Oops, this off, and then actually, this needs to be an if statement. Sorry, because since it's a button, it has to have an option. So that's where the logic comes in, and I'll be doing a tutorial on that next. So expect that. So basically, what this is saying is if you press GUI button, so what we're going to do is we're going to give it an output. So every time we hit this button, it will do that. So we're just going to put debug.log and have it say hit the button. Or actually, this is a programming tutorial, so how about hello world? Alright. So we got our semicolon, we got this closed off, and we got this closed off. So we'll save it and make sure I didn't mess up. Alright, so looks like it's fine. So what we need to do is just create just an empty object and go to components, and it's going to be in scripts. Just pop that there. And see, it doesn't have anything for you to play with in the inspector, but when we load it up, there's our button. So we can click on that, and it pulls up in the console that we said hello world, so you can hit that as many times as you want. And I actually have collapse on, but it says it every time there. Nice little feature there for you guys. If you have a lot of repetitive messages, you can hit collapse, but all the ones at the same type down into one little object. So it's pretty nice if you have a lot of stuff in like update functions. So we got that working, and this is what a default button looks like. So we're going to go back to the script. Now that that's working, and I'm actually going to make that a little bit smaller so we can put some stuff around it. So let's see, actually I'll make it a little bit flatter. And that's going to go along with what we're going to put next. So I'm going to put it before it because I want it to be under it, although I'm not sure if it actually matters. But this one is going to be a GUI box. Okay. Now a GUI box, it has a similar look, but it is definitely distinctly different. And it is basically identified the exact same way. So we just put in rect, give it an X, a Y, and a size. Now this one's going to extend beyond the button. And as with the other one, we can also give this one parameters. So I'm just going to have this say menu. Okay, so that makes our box. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually move this down a little bit. So we're going to move this down. It should move it down about 50. Not really sure what the unit is, but it should work. When we do this, oh nope, it was supposed to be positive, but that's the glory of programming, trial and error. So I moved that one down about 50, and as you can see, the button says menu. So it's a good way to make some really basic menus and everything. We can go back in and we can just tweak it as much as we want. So I mean, I can just go in here, make this one 150, move it over about 25, keep that about the same size. We go back in, and it's centered. So you can do stuff like that. Some other stuff we can play with is positioning. So as you guys see, with the GUI box here, I've just got that at the origin point. So we'll get rid of the button here. And what we can also do is, if you want it at the top right of the screen, you can put screen dot width. Note the screen is capitalized, width is not. And then what you want to do to make sure it doesn't cause any clipping, you want to subtract it by the size. So you want, screen times width minus however big you're going to make it. So we're going to make it 200, same as that one. The size, since it's going to be the top, or the y-axis, since it's top right, it's going to be 0. And this one's going to be 200 by 200. And it's going to say top right menu. And we'll make this one just top left. And there. So since I know that one's going to work, I'll just move on to the other two. Alright, so if you want to add one in at the bottom, you can probably already guess how we're going to approach this. But for the bottom left, you want to do 0, since you want it on the left side. And then you want the Y one to be screen dot height minus, and then the y-axis over here. So we go through that, and it's going to be 200 by 200, and it's going to be called the bottom left menu. And then we get to our final one, which is the bottom right. And those of you who are good at this kind of thing can already guess. This is going to be screen dot width minus the size, and then screen dot height minus the size. We go in there, 200, 200, and then bottom right menu. So now we got that. We save it, go in there, and looks like I didn't close something. Oh, yep, there it is. And we're good. So we got all of those showing up there. So, and everything looks like it is in the right spot. So that's kind of how you play the different sides. You just kind of use that general formula. And if you want to have something centered on the screen, you just do GUI.box rect, and then you want screen dot width, and then you want to do obviously minus the size. You want to put that in parentheses because we got to remember the order of operations and all that fun stuff, and we put it over 2. So basically that just gets the screen's width, subtracts however much it's going to be, and it just divides it by 2. So actually, let me correct that. That should be over 2 together, and then it subtracts it. My mistake. So that'll go. So we do that, and then screen dot height over 2 minus 200, and then it's gonna be 200 by 200. And I'm just gonna have this one say middle menu. Alright, so this should be right smack dab in the middle, but it's not, so let's go back to trial and error, and it should be. We'll try it the way I had it originally. And there you go. So yeah, I had it right originally. And then that'll make a nice centered one. So I mean that'll be good if you're just doing like a main menu and you just want to have a nice quick menu right there under the title. So that's how we do that. And you can also you don't just have to put text in there. So if we want to go down, so we'll just get rid of these ones on the side, and we'll split the one in the middle. You can also put variables in there. So if we just make a variable up here, call it text, it's a string, and it is hello world. You can just go down in here and put this. And this also works for any variable really. See, it just says hello world. You can put even images in there and everything. So if you have like a texture, you can just pop that in there. I don't really have any created for the tutorial, but it's the same general concept. So yeah, any string will work, and any like texture 2D, I believe is the correct one. I'll write it down up here just to show you guys. It's texture 2D. Yeah, so those will work just fine, and you can make some really nice stuff with that. So the last element I want to show you guys is called the GUI Label. You use that for anything that you want to display as content but don't want clickable. So it's kind of like just a little header up there at the top that we used for the box, but it works a little differently, and you can use that to put stuff within the box. So we just get this set up, and we're going to do like minus 175, so it should be in the box. Screen dot height minus 175. So the height you want down a little bit, so we'll do 25. And this one will be, let's do about 100 by 100. And the content will just be, hi guys. So then we go, Alright, so we go in there and yeah, I didn't calculate it right, but yeah, you guys get the point. So that one works the same as anything else that goes in the out of the box, and then it'll just pop it there for you. So let me go ahead and move on. The next one is going to be GUI Layouts. And for these, you really only have to use the actual XY coordinates and size once. So let me show you how this works. It's pretty nice, and I've been using it a lot more since I figured out how to use it. Um, just for graphic example, I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make a rect object over here because it'll be fun. Trust me. So we got that. And we'll just mess with it in the inspector. A lot of what I like to do when I code, I don't know about you guys, but I like to make things like private and just predetermine it in the code, so that way the level designer doesn't mess it up. So just keep that one to yourself, guys, and I'll show you how to use GUI layouts. So a GUI layout uses the same basic ones that a GUI does, with a couple exceptions. So the first exception is we get GUI layouts dot, and what you always want to do at the beginning is begin area, and then we're going to put just the size area. So that'll let us determine everything with this little function up here. Actually, back on GUIs also have a group function as well, but it doesn't work nearly as well as like a GUI layout. So if you guys play with that if you want. But so that begins our area, and that's going to be a non-visible thing. Like, you're not going to see where the GUI layout area is because it's just defining where everything inside of it goes. So say for instance we want to make a list. I mean, you can just make like tables, so it's pretty useful. So if I want to do a list of like 5 objects with 2 parameters for each of them, what you can do is say GUI layout. Well, let's start small, and we'll do begin vertical. Okay, so what this is doing is it's going to define a vertical area, and everything you list after this is going to be stacked on top of the other one. And something else you can do with this, you can also do it with the next one I'm going to show you, but you can define a style for it, and actually it has to be in things, but that tells it it's going to be a box style, so it'll be like a GUI box. And we can hit semicolon, and everything I list here is just going to be stacked on top of each other. So we'll go in and we'll do a GUI layout dot, and we'll just do a button, and actually let me put the if there. GUI layout dot button, and since this is a GUI layout, we don't have to find a size for it. We just put the text, so it's going to be yes. Okay, so we got that, and close the parentheses, and we put the results. It's just going to be a debug.log yes. Okay, so we got that, and then we're going to just put another one to show you how this all works here. GUI layout dot button. This one's going to say, you guys guessed it, no. So we got that, we go there, debug.log, no. So, we got that, and what we want to put here is GUI layout dot end vertical. And that just says that, okay, we're done with that whole stacking thing. It's out of our system. We're done. And then this one will end the area. So, this should compile. Okay, so we're good. We go back in. And since we haven't defined an area for it, we'll do the width as 100 by 100, and there it is. So with the inspector, you can just kind of drag stuff over as you will to place it manually. You can also just assign stuff in there, but I just wanted to show you guys this. So it's got yes and no perfectly stacked there, and as we can see, it's working. So that's kind of how to use the GUI layouts. A little basicness there. So say for instance you want to make something like a table. What we can do is we'll just change this to a GUI layout, and well, basically it's kind of like HTML. So you're finding that everything here is going to be in a vertical area, and say for instance you want to put a horizontal area for your first two elements. So this will be your first row. You would just put begin horizontal. Okay, so that's going to start out horizontal, and everything in this will be horizontally aligned. So we'll just put a label, and we're just going to have this one say hello. And then the next one is going to say world. So actually I'm going to put a little space here for that one. We do GUI layout dot end horizontal, and we go in and we gotta give it size again, and hello world. So that's how that works. But you know, a 1x2 table isn't very impressive. So what we can do after that is, since we're still in our vertical, we can go GUI layout dot begin horizontal to start another row, and we'll just put 2 buttons in this one just to show you that everything just kind of blends together here. You know, it doesn't need to do anything, it's just a GUI example. So and we end it off, and see, it's not actually wide enough because disagree is a bit bigger. So we can, with this, we can just make everything bigger. And as you can see, everything kind of stays aligned. So if I were to make this, you know, 1,000 by 1,000, everything just kind of stays aligned. So, you know, this, and you may be thinking to yourself, but I don't really like that. I don't want it to be aligned. So let me show you how to center things, because there's a pretty quick and simple way to do it. So let me go ahead and get rid of these. And say you just want something centered. What you can do is, in a horizontal area, you have this cool little tool called flexible space. So it doesn't have a predetermined size. I think you can give it a size, but that kind of defeats the purpose of a GUI layout, if you ask me. And you put another flexible space just to finish it off, and in the middle you put your text. So we can do GUI layout dot do a label and just say centered. So if we do that, and actually I'm just going to give, no, I'm not going to bother with that. Okay, we can go and whether it's 100 by 100 or 1000 by 1000, that will be centered. So it's a pretty useful little trick there. So let me move on to the next little subject. It's about GUI skins. So probably by now you're thinking, wow, those default GUI aspects look really lame. You're right. So what we can do is use a thing called a GUI skin. So I'm just going to add some more stuff here so you can see what everything kind of looks like. And we'll do it all centered real nice here. And we'll just make this a button. So up at the top, what we do, and I'm just going to actually get rid of this because it's kind of starting to annoy me. So we'll just do a rect, and then we'll just make it 1000. No, we'll keep it up at the origin here, and then just do it 1000 by 1000. So that's the other way of doing that without a variable. But so those two are there, and we're going to just make an object up here, a variable. I'm just going to call it skin. It can be called whatever you want. And the type is a GUI skin. So what we do then is go down to your GUI function, and you put GUI.skin equals skin. So that's going to assign the GUI skin to your variable. So what we'll do is we go here, and I didn't close stuff, so let me fix that. Alright, so now we get this nice little thing up here called GUI skin in the inspector. So I actually downloaded some skins, or just a skin, but it comes with like 3. So we have custom package, new GUI skin 130. So that's going to import all of these. So let me kind of show you guys what goes into a GUI skin, because I'm sure you're going to be eager to make your own. So this one came with 3 different ones: metal GUI skin, orange GUI skin, and Amiga 500 GUI skin. So these 3 controls folders reference all the stuff in it. So if we look at controls, it's got a lot of really small, if you look at the bottom right, textures. So you're thinking, oh, well, that's kind of crazy that those tiny little things, can work. Like, you see how small those are. It's ridiculous. So what we do is we go back to this, and we just we're going to go with orange. Open this up, and boom. As you can see, when you highlight over it, it changes the colors and everything. Here's what the buttons look like. It looks pretty cool. A lot of white space, that's because we made it way too big. But let me just make a normal sized one here. So let's make it like by 100. Yeah, so as you can see, it's all centered. Everything looks nice with our new GUI skin. So what we can do now is we can give it a different GUI skin. Let's try a metal GUI skin. Oh. Looks pretty cool. And then we got Amiga 500 GUI skin. Now, as you can see, all we have to do is just change it in there. So this one's got a kind of weird font. I'm not sure I like that one. So let's look at the orange GUI skin. So if you look at a GUI skin in the inspector, everything that kind of goes with it is in here. So it's got the font listed up here, and then it's got the box. So the box is just the basic little thing that we're using for our vertical area, and you can define everything that goes into this. So that's what it's called. If you look at what it normally looks like, it gives us that tiny little texture. So you got that. It's got a hover texture. It doesn't have an active. I don't think that's a focused either. Yeah, so they don't really have anything in these, but you guys can totally experiment with these. It's how much of a border it has on it, obviously. I mean, most of these are pretty common sense. So that's just box and then button. So if we go in there, It's what it looks like normally. It's what it looks like when you hover over it. I don't think there's any difference there. And that's what it looks like when you click on it. So if you wanted to edit these, all you really have to do is just use one of these as kind of a template. So if we just look at like button normal, we'll like load this up in Photoshop here. Alright, so okay, so this is all that is, because all it does is just take what it has here and just stretches it out. So say you want to change this over to a blue. You're like, I'm not liking the orange, but I like some blue. All you have to do is just go in there and set to a smaller size. Just change this over. Yeah, I'm just doing it quick and dirty. I'm not an artist, I'm a programmer. So, blue down here. We'll make the top a lighter blue because we're classy like that. Oh yeah, that looks beautiful, doesn't it, guys? I think so. Alright, so we've got this wonderful looking, whatever you want to call it. um, and we'll just do a little cleaning up on this thing real fast. You can just raise the sides of it. Just want to get rid of that orange kind of layer around it. So, and good enough. So I just go ahead and save that. We go in, it changes in there, and now our button's blue. So it's really pretty simple to like work this into whatever your game's art style is. I mean, if a programmer can do that, then I think your artist will be fine. So that's how you use GUI skins. And I mean, GUI skins are really what's going to give your game a lot of character. So I'd definitely take care to add that into your games. Let me see if there's anything else I need to cover. I'm not really seeing anything else. I mean, you can always add as many of these different elements as you want. I mean, for a different like script, you can maybe have it add in other stuff. Like you can call these in a lot of different ways too. Like say for instance, you don't want your GUI to come up on load. So what you can do, I mean, you put like, we'll just call this one GUI on, and not FUI on, GUI on, and it'll just be a boolean, and we're gonna have it equal to false. And for this, we're just gonna have if GUI on. So now GUI on has to be on for that to show. So we can just go in there and it's gone. So I mean, you can have stuff in your game, but it depends on this. So this little toggle over in the inspector will turn it on and off. You can bind it to a key. So like if you wanted to have it like a pause menu, you can put just on key down, enter, voila, and it just disables like the time, enables your menu. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, you can go ahead and just pop me an email. I do check the OUGDA email, so if you send it to there, I'll get it. And yeah, my next tutorial I'm going to do is probably going to be on some basic logic. I think most of you guys have taken at least ACS class, so it should be pretty remedial. But there are some things here and there that not GUI, but that Unity does that is a little different. So look forward to that, and I'll try to do that within this week. If I'm bored enough and my internet's still down, I might just do it next. So stay tuned. So I hope this tutorial was helpful, and I hope you guys make some great games.